All right, everybody. Good morning. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well today. And now we get to have some fun. And if you watched that game last Sunday, you know why we're about to have some fun. Because this is Pass Rush Friday. And man, what a game from the Pass Rush. So many different levels and layers to it. So many different things worked on Sunday. It was just everything that you could want out of this defense in one game without blitzing an excessive amount. Blitzing at about a 16% rate, I think. Maybe not even. The Seattle Seahawks managed to get the kind of pressure on Trevor Lawrence that we have not seen the Seahawks get on any quarterback in what feels like a while. Maybe you could go back to like the Giants game 2 years ago, but I think you got to go back even further than that. Be right back. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today. Get to it and go have some fun with sports this year. All right. So, yeah, it was a party in the Jacksonville backfield, and we needed this because we all know how the previous game went. The previous game was so lackluster in the pressure department, it had some people probably questioning their faith in the defense a little bit. But without Derek Hall, the Seahawks put on a show. So let's break it down piece by piece. All these numbers come from Pro Football Reference. I know PFF has different data, although both websites are kind of in agreement on the general sense of what this team accomplished on Sunday, even if they don't get the exact same numbers. So, defensive line, it was just two guys, but Leonard Williams with 3 pressures, season high for him. Byron Murphy with 5. That ties a season high for him. And think about how crazy it is that Byron Murphy is getting 5 pressures in a game when he's still playing a decent amount from the nose tackle. That's not something that should be happening. And I know some of his pressures come when he slides over to 3 tech, but the fact that he's this productive, still getting a lot of his snaps over on the 1 tech side, that really tells you how far he has come. And I didn't know if Byron Murphy would ever get to this point. I certainly would not have expected him to get there in his second year. Nothing from anybody else. Jaron Reed has now gone a month without an official pressure from PFR, which I'm not too worried about it because obviously Williams and Murphy are the two guys who are really here to get pressure, but Reed, you can tell that the years are catching up to him, and he's still playing a role in this defense, and I think he's playing it fairly effectively, but you can see that he's not what he was even last year, I think. So that's 8 pressures from the defensive line, really good, ties a season high. And now we get to our linebackers, our inside off-ball linebackers, where Ernest Jones picked up a pressure and Drake Thomas had a sack. And a lot of people have been talking about the Drake Thomas sack. He actually takes on the tackle, pushes him out of the way, and gets to the quarterback, which, hey, that's great. And that does speak to the concern that I have about Drake Thomas, where I don't know if he's big or strong enough to hold up against the run. But if he's big and strong enough to hold his own against a tackle in a circumstance like that, then maybe so. I still have reservations about how Drake Thomas is going to hold up in the long haul, but we'll see. We're going to get the opportunity to see, and we've got a couple weeks here before we have to make any kind of a decision. The trade deadline is still a couple of games away, so we have the opportunity to give Drake Thomas probably around 120 snaps over the next 2 weeks and see what he does. So I'm cool with it. So that's 2 pressures from the off-ball linebackers. Edge rushers. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I can recall the last time I saw any Seahawks player get 7 pressures in a game. The fact that it came from DeMarcus Lawrence, the guy who we brought in here to stop the run, the old man, just coming back from an injury, that's special. That is really special. And I knew he was going to be good. I did not think he was going to be this well-rounded, though. And look, it's an aberration. He's not going to do that every game. But the fact that he could do that in any game, especially when we needed it, because understand, we had no Derek Hall in this game, so we needed it. 7 pressures in one game for D-Law. Man, special stuff. And don't forget Nwosu, man. 5 pressures on his end. And remember, these are PFR pressures. These are not the cheap, easy-to-get PFF pressures. Even PFR thinks that Nwosu was great. And some people were a little bit worried about Nwosu after the last few weeks, but I think he's rounding into form. And I think we got ourselves a pretty darn good stable of pass rushers once Derek Hall gets back. And even Boye Mafe, who didn't have a very good game and continues to kind of lag behind where we thought we were going to have him, he still had 2 pressures, which, I mean, that's as many as he's had in any game this season, so it's not all bad. It's not like the Boye Mafe's doing anything necessarily wrong. He just isn't showing the dominance that we're seeing from, well, in this most recent game, Nwosu and Lawrence. And I think we've even seen it a little bit from Derek Hall. And Mafe, he's just been kind of getting his 1 to 2 pressures a game, and that's okay, but it's not really what you're looking for in a contract year. That's 14 pressures from your edge rushers. 14. So already we are crushing any reasonable expectation. Cornerback, nothing going on there. You wouldn't expect it, right? Witherspoon's not playing, Woolen's not playing. You're not going to be blitzing your corners a lot. Safeties, Eamon Worry got his first ever pressure according to PFR. I think PFF gave him 2. But Eamon Worry, 1 quarterback pressure. So he is now sitting with the one that comes from the secondary. But let me actually pull these numbers down real quick here. That's better. But yeah, Eamon Worry, he had the 1 pressure back here, and that gets you to 25. 25 in a game. That's beyond, I think. I don't think it's been that high since I started doing this. Like I said, a couple years ago we played the Giants, and that was a really good game for the pass rush. But I don't think it was 25. Maybe it was. It was close. But I don't think it was. So, really, really awesome stuff. That is everything you could want a Mike Macdonald defense to be, and it more than makes up for the weak pass rush we saw the previous week against Tampa. So, feeling pretty good about that one, and that's a great way to end the week, man. 25 pressures in a game where Lawrence dropped back, what was it, about 50 times? And this is PFR pressure, right? This isn't PFF or next-gen stats. This is PFR, the highest standard imaginable. All right, so that is it for this week of Pass Rush Friday. Hope to see you guys later today. More videos coming. We got plenty more to talk about in the world of sports. And yeah, everybody have a great rest of your day. Go Hawks. And keep an eye out for more videos. We'll have an injury report later. I'll talk about the Huskies. And yeah, let's have it.